Hey, what's going on? So this morning, I got my mama on with me. Say hello, mama. They see you.
Oh my goodness. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody? It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining, and I'm looking forward to completing or at least getting right back into our topic. I'm so excited about it. Our
See,
kings.
y'all get to throw up your thumbs up, your hearts, and your happy faces. I called
Yeah.
that early. Y'all get to throw those up so she can see it. All right. So y'all know the drill,
Yeah.
all my faithfuls. It's your girl, Neil Soul recording artist, Lahla-Hadiya. Started up another segment of Morning Tea with Mommy. And how y'all doing? Let me see those hearts. Look, those thumbs ups, those hearts, happy
We.
faces.
All right.
I'm so out of sort this
All
morning.
right.
Satan is trying to get me off track, but I'm back on it. I'm back on it. I'm back on it. He started early this morning. But anyway, we are we are back into it, talking about the black man. So for those of you who are just joining us, we have been talking about for the last two seasons. We're in season 5 now. The end of the third season and fourth season, we've been talking about how to change the narrative, how to do different things to get different results. Things that we've done in the past have obviously not been working. It's landed us back in the same spot, individually, in our households, and as a community and a culture. And so, if you want different results, you do different things. You don't do the same thing. And so, we started out talking about our seeds, which is our children. And then we moved into the black woman and what her position is and how she can revamp herself, get back connected to the creator, stand in her position as the helpmeet, understanding what all of that entails, in order to allow the fixing of what has been broken for many years. And so now we are talking about the black man. We've been talking about the black man for the past 2 days now, and so this is part 3. We started out talking about protector, priest, provider. Your job, what it is that a black man is supposed to be, represent, and do for the family. And then we moved into just some. We were talking about yesterday, uh, just the communication with. With the black man and his queen, and being able to co-parent. I think we talked about that. We brought that up, being able to co-parent, and holding the family together, nurturing their seeds, being there for their children, and what that looks like. You can't really be there for your children if you don't have a decent, godly communication line with the mother of your children. And even if you should move forward and have your own family, understanding that you are the head, you are the leader, and so being there to keep your family together is necessary. And so today, because a lot of things were uncovered yesterday, um, we want to move into something that is very necessary and real, and that is the Black Man Part 3, Healing from Hurts. And I want to hear from my fellas because there are a lot of things, that we talked about when we dealt with the female, the Black woman, that we uncovered, in regards to the attitude, um, just how they operate, how they should stand in their queenism and get out of the stereotype. So, what I don't want this to be, black man, is as we uncover those hurts, those things that you need to heal from, it being a back and forth match of what a black woman is, because we talked about that. Go back, listen to those. And then if you want to send some information that is vital to the growth of us as a unit, us as a family, us as a culture, us as a community, then certainly put your comments. But I don't want this to be like the norm, which is every time we talk about one, you got to point finger at the other. And so we're talking about healing from hurts. Um, our black men are hurting. Our black men are hurting. Um, they're hurting spiritually. They're hurting physically in certain instances, and they're hurting definitely emotionally. Um, and it's affecting the family. It's affecting the family, and it's affecting our growth and our success and our purpose as a family that God has intended in the very beginning. So I want to, before I have my mother start out and say some things in that regard, just wanna play something here for a second. So I'm gonna take us off for a second. Take us off because it's not necessary to see our faces right now as we talk. I need you guys to see this. This breaks my heart. Um, it breaks my heart as a woman. It breaks my heart as a black woman. And it breaks my heart as a black woman who loves our black kings. This this picture of Kanye, um, Will Smith, R. Kelly, like just the picture alone should be enough to give you this uneasy feeling in your stomach. These are our kings. These are our leaders. These represent the heads of our households. This represents the leaders of our communities, the kings of our nations. Um, and they're broken. They're broken. Black men, the black man, the kings, our leaders, our heads, our examples, our role models, they're broken. So I'm gonna let my mom start out with this topic. But I want you to today is not about us, and I know she looked cute today. Um, but I'm gonna leave this up for a little bit because I wanted to sink in. What you got?
Mhm. I'm touched. Anytime my anyone who knows me or know my history, I love Black people. I love people of color. I love people, but I'm especially endeared to people of color and my Black men, my kings. I from way back, I just have the utmost respect for, based on, and I've shared this many times, based on what I grew up with my dad. Um, my dad started out not having a formal education, coming from the South, um, as a farmer, excuse me, and then moving to Norfolk, Virginia, and finding employment, gainful employment, and taking care of a family, being a strong Black male. That's what I grew up with. Not having a lot. I didn't know I was poor until I grown older. And then I realized I really wasn't poor. I was rich because I had I had a delicacy, and that was a strong black man for a father. Um, I have every morning, and I've shared this also, that I do. I have like confidence cards, and my card today says, "Who I am is not what I have. Who I am is whose I am." And that is something that is so appropriate for our topic, because who men are, is not so much what you have, not so much where you've been, not so much what how much education you have. It's whose you belong to, and you belong to your creator. And my job as a strong black female is not to overpower my black king, but it is to build them up. And that starts from birth, with our little black boys. And that is putting in their heads that they are somebody. They are a gift, a gift from a king, the greatest king. They're from royalty. And this is the thing that I have stood on for many, 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 many years. You know, um, again, my job as a queen is to complement my king. And now that my husband's deceased, is a thing. It's not about any relationship or getting into any romantic relationship, as it is just lifting up our black males. And so today, this week, we really are, this topic means so much to me in light of what is happening around us in the real world, in our global society. You know, so often black men are uh, pushed down or pulled down or talked down, and so our job as queens is to lift them up as they uh, lift us up, but also remembering that they are, according to God, are the head of the household, such as Christ is the head of the church. So that's where I stand. That's where I am. And I get very, very sensitive when we talk about this. And when I see things on the media, portraying our men as anything but strong, anything but kings that they are, I get very, very, very emotional, uh, because it's very important now more so than ever for us to think the best and put the best into our male children.
Looking at this picture, um, I was looking at it while you were talking, and what I see is five young boys. That's what I see. I see five young boys inside the bodies of grown men. I see five young boys who have not healed from something. Um, and you can almost feel the spirit of that through the tears that you see. And no matter what we think of each of these individuals, based on things that they've said in the media, things that they've done that have been disclosed in the media, these are our kings. These are representation, or supposed to be representation, of the leaders of our homes, of the heads of our households. These are people that our babies are looking up to when they're watching TV. Um, at least three of them, um, I can point out, and I'll let you be the judge of who those three are. have been major household names in a positive way prior to certain things being uncovered. You know, I, as a child, they, like I looked up to them, to some of these men, and to see this, and the reason why I still have it up is because sometimes we can say things. Yesterday we had a Bible study with our children, as we usually do, and we were talking about we went back to revisit reacting versus responding, which is so crazy because one of our viewers, which is a really good friend of ours, who's an author, did an article on just that very thing, the difference between reacting and responding. And we were talking about in a reaction, you don't necessarily need to think it out. It just happens. It just, whatever comes out your mouth, whatever comes out your fingers when you're typing, it just is what it is. But a response requires thought. And if you're a wise person, it requires careful thought, because you not only think about what it is that you want to say, but you filter what it is that you want to say through the real purpose of why you're going to say it, which is everything we do. If it's supposed to be for the glorification of God, then everything that we say should be ran through our Creator to make sure it is what He wants to be said in the first place. Otherwise, it's all about us. It's all about us. If you don't think about what you say, what you type, how you act, how you treat other people before you do it, it's a selfish act. If you don't, even if it's out in the atmosphere, if you don't take the time to evaluate what you've said, what you've typed, what you've done, it's selfish. It's selfish, and it does not contribute to the building up of what it is that we say we fighting for. Like, Black Lives Matter, like I told you guys segments ago, it's not just about following the movement of whoever created who coined the phrase Black Lives Matter. Black lives really do matter. And so if Black Lives Matter, then we have to be strategic. I keep saying that word, intentional, about how we get to a point where we believe that Black lives really matter. Uncovering the things with our children that we did episodes ago, uncovering the things we did with our women episodes ago, and now this is the head. These are our kings. These are the people that we say, we need you to step up and be what you need to be to our children. This is what this is the spirit of them pouring out. And so if this doesn't move us, then it's already a deeper problem, but we're still part of the problem. If this doesn't move us to want to change, to want to dig deep to the root, to begin to change things, then we are definitely still part of the problem. To turn your backs on this right here and say, yo, he crazy. Yo, well, he brought it on himself. He was out there, cheating on his wife. Or like, look what he was doing to our babies. This dude had, other extracurricular activities going on other than basketball, and he brought this on himself. This dude, like, yo, he thought he wasn't ready for the fame. Like, instead of saying those things, if this is what our head looks like, then we're destined to fail. And I don't believe that that's the purpose that God has for us. And ladies, like, to see this should mean more to you than just, our black man ain't, you know what I'm saying? They good for nothing. We might as well stand on the side of the enemy. And so it's time to uncover the fact that our black men are hurting all the way back to slavery. It's not enough just to be like, oh, well, I'm your ally. The black woman is your ally. How could you go to this white girl? Or how could you be with them? And, I stood by you. And so all you can say is I got a bad attitude. You're still a part of the problem. Our job is to protect the vital organs of the black man. That's what the rib cage does. And we are taken from Adam's rib. That's what we do. We are supposed to protect the vital organs so that they can be who it is that God purposed them to be, so that our family can be led properly, so that we can be able to be free to nurture our children and build nations and kingdoms. So if we turn our backs on this, then we are definitely a part of the problem. And you're not in position to operate as queen. See, if the head, if we can uncover the root of the problem and begin to heal from the head, then we'll have the space and security for the black woman to heal as well. And for our seeds never to have to go through what they're going through right now. We are killing ourselves by fighting ourselves, by turning our backs on ourselves. And this ain't about, there's a lot of people that's so pro-black that it's like, I can't believe, like if my black man, the moment that he engages in a relationship with a non-black, I can't take him serious. This is beyond that. This is beyond that. Get out yourself. This has nothing to do with like, well, why he should want me. I'm his ally. He should want me. I'm the black woman. Perhaps some of the breakdown that has happened and that has continued to happen has made it easier for a black man to not want to be with a black woman. Maybe. Everybody doesn't fit, like, just like, everybody at a job, everybody ain't all bad, everybody doesn't fit in that mold. But perhaps with all the other added things that are on the shoulders of a black man, perhaps that gives a contribution. And so let's stand on the opposite side of where we've been standing and connect ourselves with part of the solution, which means you gotta plug in. You gotta plug into your creator. Like, he wants so much for us. He wants to make our names great. He wants to elevate these nations that he has allowed us to build, these seeds that we have birthed. It's necessary, y'all. Like looking at this bothers me. And some of our men are so well at let me give y'all a break. Some of our men are do so well at masking masking their feelings, um so that you can't see it on the outside. But it doesn't mean it's not there. And so we become surprised when certain things happen. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he did this to me. Or like he wasn't who, he said he was. Being being a partner of someone. I look back at when I was on the police department as a police officer, having a partner, it wasn't enough to just be able to show up at a scene when, because we rode separate, but they were still my partner. To show up at a scene when I know they was going to a scene. Wasn't enough. Being a partner was knowing my partner. Because knowing my partner, I know what I had to step up because they were weak in that area. So if we ever showed up at a scene where we were put in harm's way, we knew how to operate because we knew each other. I can't show up at no scene where there's guns with somebody that don't know me. Like, you gotta know my moves. You gotta know what gets me shocked where I can't move. You gotta know what sets me off so that you can put your hand on my shoulder. Like, we a real partner, because some of these dudes out here in the police department should not be there. They use that as a way to boost their lack of esteem, and that's not where it's at. But a real partner should be able to see you getting out of character and be like, yo, man, I got this. That's a partner. And so, as a partner to women, as a partner, it it is our job to learn who they are so that we can effectively partner. You don't partner with somebody in business and not know what their motives are and not ask questions and get deeper and closer. Your money on the line. Well, ladies, you don't partner with a man and not get closer and deeper and know what their motives are and learn what their motives are before you get so caught up. Our seeds are on the line. Our investments. And if we took the time to do that, we'd see the brokenness. A lot of us are so caught up in just a relationship. Like, I just need, I just want to be in a relationship. And before you know it, the hurt has transferred from them to you. And we ain't got no better. We ain't got no better. They just transfer some of their hurt to you. And now, because you're hurt, some of us, we transferring some of our hurt to our seeds. Get out my face. You look just like your dad. You act just like your dad. Get out my face. Go over there with him. I'm going to send you to him. You can live with him. Or we talking to another queen who's hopeful, and you're like, yo, black men they ain't even worth it. All of them cheat. Half of them be faking the funk like they like you like that, and then you know what I'm saying, like I done gave up on black men. Like we're transferring the hurt, so we're still a part of the problem. Our men need help, and the first order of business is to get on your knees and talk to the creator who created this man. And I'm talking in general. I'm not just talking your man. Like it's going to take a change widespread. Even those who aren't in a, like, you ain't got to be in a relationship. You ain't got to be in a relationship with a man to know that that's supposed to be our lead. That's supposed to be our head. The first order of business is to get on your knees and talk to the creator. Ask him to, while in the midst of you becoming and in the midst of you dealing with even the struggles that you deal with, if everybody did it, if we as women In the midst of the struggle that we're going through, we still took the time to pray for our black men. And as men, even in the midst of the struggle that you're going through, you took the time to pray for your black women. You know what I used to do? I still do it to this day. So like when we were in a church setting, we would have a fast every year, right? And so in my marriage, there were certain things that I wanted and felt should and could be better for the sake of the tribe that we have. You know what I'm saying? Um, but what I did was interesting, and I for a long time I was like, "What am I doing?" What I did was interesting. When I went into those fasts, instead of praying for myself and even my family, I got on my knees and prayed for other couples. In the midst of whatever may have been troubling me, I was big enough to ask God to heal and fix and mend what was troubling other people. And a funny thing happened. I saw marriages being elevated and mended. Certain things was dug out and uncovered. But when I turned around, he was blessing me too. My husband and I got closer. My children got closer as our relationships got better. In the midst of it all, in the midst of my selflessness, he was blessing me too. And so, ladies, like, that's the top. That's the head. That's the one that's supposed to be protector, priest, provider. And so, in order for us to even have the space to operate in, to be ourselves, the selves that God purposed for us to be, those queens that God purposed for us to be, so that we can be the proper nurturing for those seeds that He blessed us with, it probably is a good look for us to lift them up in prayer instead of bringing them down so we could climb to the top, because that ain't our place. That ain't our place. And attempting to operate in that further assist the destruction of the family, which is what God created. I'm gonna let that sit there. What you got, Mama?
Mm, heavy stuff, heavy stuff. That's real talk, real talk. Um, I'm thinking as you were speaking, many things came to mind, and one such was when, and many of us nowadays more so than ever, we are ordering things online or however you order things, expecting them to be delivered, and then once we get them, whether it's I know my son ordered a weed whacker and he started putting it together, and then he realized that uh, maybe some of the parts were missing. Well, what he did, he went back to the instructions or the manual, and that's key. Ding, ding, ding. When we have difficulty putting, whether it's a toy, putting something together, a toy, lawn equipment, what have you, furniture, whatever, we go back to the manual. So for me, it makes sense when we have situations in our relationships, whether it's in our homes, in our job, on our jobs, we should go back to the manufacturer, go back to the manual. And for us believers, the manual, of course, is the Bible, is God's word. Um, again, referring to my confidence card for today, who I am is not what I have, but who I am is whose I am. So it makes sense that I go back to the person that created me to deal with any situations that I may have in my life. And whether men, and our topic, we're dealing with men now, we've dealt with women. And actually, this is going to be an ongoing thing because there's hardly anything we can ever talk about that would not involve men and women.
Absolutely.
So the thing that comes to mind is for us to resort back to the manual, to the manufacturer. And as La pointed out, sometimes we have to turn our plates down. And the whole idea of fasting is to cleanse out our spirit, cleanse out our soul, put everything else out of reach, and deal so that we can get to the real nitty gritty. And starting from the outset, our men started out shorthanded. They were put down, they were abused and misused, and the same with women. It was like our people, period, have started out with a short side of the deal, and so it makes sense to me for us to go back to the manual, go back to the manufacturer, in order to deal with uh, who we are. First off, is knowing who we are, and the question I ask all men this week is, do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? I say very often that one of my pet peeves is looking in a mirror and talking to myself, and it's perfectly all right. I know a lot of times, we have this misnomer about that, talking to yourself. It's okay as long as you don't start answering back. You don't have to answer.
Oh
Just
no,
talk
I
to
think I
yourself.
done stepped up
Talk
on the
to
crazy
yourself.
side because I
And
answer all the time.
then, absolutely. And then wait for that spirit to answer back,
Yeah.
the spirit of God. And I'm telling you, when I was little and as I was growing up, I used to think, oh, I hear my parents say that, and I'm like, oh, woo. But as you're growing older, you ideally you start to, those things that were once said to you, even from the womb, start to resonate. And so, as I said, I take this topic, I take our men very seriously, because I look to men as our kings, our earthly kings, and those persons who will lift us up when we are down, females, women. And but at the same line of thinking, we have to be prepared to lift our men up. But before you can allow or think that someone else can lift you up, you got to lift yourself up.
Yeah.
You've got to know who you are, whose you are, and then do what you do based on that uh, manufacturer, the manual that created you. Um, I see, and I just so admire beautiful brothers. I had this woman to say when I first got married, and I took offense to it. And she was a good friend of my husband's, and she said, I don't know what the whole conversation was, but in the end, she said, beautiful brothers belong to everybody. I know I'm a flower child, I'm a baby boomer, and that's the way we thought. But when she said that, over the years, as years passed, that statement started to really circle in my head. And I started to understand and accept what she said. Beautiful brothers belong to everybody, and they should, because we are our brother's keeper and a sister's keeper. And so, with that, I say to my beautiful brothers, that, you have to think well of yourself in order for others to think well of you. And not to take that as a, well, who she thinks she is telling me, as it is, look in the mirror. Don't take my word. Look in the mirror, talk to yourself, and then wait for that spirit to answer you. And 9 times out of 10, the answer will be There's a song that says, the answer is, and the answer will be from God, from that Holy Spirit speaking within you. The same Spirit that allowed you to be created will speak to you, you know. Amen.
Amen. I mean, this, and it's going to take some work. It's going to take some work on all
Oh,
of our parts.
yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
this isn't something that happens overnight. No, not at all. And you'd be a fool to think that it can change miraculously overnight.
Mhm.
One, because it's a process. And within that process, there's something that God wants us to get. That's why we keep going through it over and over again. And that process is something that God wants us to get. And it's a tool that's necessary, because it's something that I believe that we're going to need as we move forward as a unit. You know, I, again, I believe that we're the chosen people. I believe it. I believe it. And not chosen just because of the fact that we were meant to rule, like, we've been ruled over. Um, but the compassion and the genuine, I'm talking about inside, that stuff that people don't see. That softness, fellas, that people don't get to see because it's masked and covered, and costumed with this, I'm macho, I'm man, hear me roar type of thing. But the compassion that we possess, that genuine compassion, is necessary to be infectious to the rest of society. We naturally have that. We naturally have it. Anytime you can be beat over and over and still get out there and pick cotton. Anytime you can be put down. Like, just think about our characteristics. Like, we don't see what it is that God is really trying to show us in the things that He's taken us through. He's brought us through. Not over, not around, but through. We have been put down. We have been mocked. We have been beaten. We have been marred. And look at where we are. Look at where we are as a people with scars and deep hurt. Imagine where we could be if we truly allow God to heal us from the trauma and the displaced emotions. That's a leader. Because if you can do, that's almost equivalent to a mom carrying this big thing inside of her body for 9 months, going through excruciating pain, being kicked, punched, stretched, screaming sometimes to the top of her lungs to get this thing out of me. And the second that they place that baby's face up against hers, all of that goes away. We as a people possess those same characteristics. And so, what makes for a better leader than someone who actually can truly exhibit compassion? We've allowed the barbaric, and I ain't Nick Cannon's. You can't fire me. This is my show. We have allowed the barbaric lifestyle of those who would want to see us destroyed to seep into our DNA, to allow us and brainwash us into thinking that to destroy my brother gets me higher up on the totem pole. That I'll just wait for my fellow brother and sister to get this because I don't have to. I've been taught all I got to do is take it and I can be great. We've allowed that barbaric way of thinking to seep into our DNA, and that ain't who we were purposed to be. It's not. And so you see the killings and the black on black crime, and and all we do is we like, yo, black lives don't matter. They don't matter to us. No, black lives absolutely matter, and they should matter to us. Is what the statement should be. Black lives matter, and they should matter to us.
And let me
Change your mindset. Go ahead.
and let me I have many sayings, but one that I use very often is you're as strong as the weakest link. You're as strong as the weakest link. So in any situation where you have one that is has fallen or is weak or is not as strong as you think they should be or they should be, whatever is the case, then your strength can be even stronger by lifting that person up. The only time, there's another saying, the only time you should look down on a man is when you're picking him up. That goes for a relationship, that goes for any relationship. And I've shared this, I think, just this week that one of my divas of administration was a person who had no qualms whatsoever in empowering her staff. You know, she looked at us as co-workers and not as I'm your boss. And so in a relationship, um, it's not a 50-50, it's 100-100 because you're complementing each other. You're working together for the good of them that love the Lord. You are doing whatever you can. This Black Lives Matter, it makes sense. If my brother, which we started out being shorthanded, as I said earlier, so Black Lives Matter because it should be a situation where you're strengthening the one that was weak. So when I hear anyone, whether it's a person of not your people of color, but the other folks saying, well, all lives matter. Hey, go back to the manual. We know this because lives in the beginning were created by God. It was man that saw fit to destroy, to put down our people of color, our Black people. It was man that did that. So it makes sense. And even the Bible got in the Bible, it speaks of, when you have a flock of sheep and one goes astray, do you leave the flock and go after? Yes, you do.
Absolutely.
You go after the weaker one. So it makes sense. Black lives matter. I don't know of too many situations where whites or people who are not of color have been shot needlessly. I don't know of too many situations like that, where you find a white person has been kneed by the police, or a female has been just drugged through the ground, on the ground, knocked to the ground and drugged. You know, I don't know of too many situations where whites have been water hosed or dogs set after them. I don't know of two. I'm sure they exist, maybe, but you don't hear that every other day or every day in our case now. You don't hear that. So obviously, we have a situation here where Black lives are becoming extinct because they're being battered, they're being beat down, they're being killed. Real talk. So, yes, Black lives do matter. And because we value lives, period, that's a given. God created everything He created, said that's good. So, yes, Black lives do matter. Our Black men do matter. It troubles me. And it's interesting, as mentioned Kanye and Will Smith. And, again, it's not even about what you have. You can have all the money in the world. You can have homes that stretch from one end of the city to the other, but it doesn't, you find those same people are not happy. So when you see them coming out and doing these things to, whether it's to get attention or whatever their reason, running for president, people are broken. These people are broken. These people are broken. And, they really need help. And I've said this before. Yes, I pray for those who are weak. That's our job as believers. We pray for those who are weak. Yes, I pray for Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump has a serious problem. He has a serious problem. And I keep saying this, that at the end of the day, when the history books are written and he's included in it, it will be founded that there was something going on there that was mentally unbalanced. He was broken. He came in broken with all the money that claimantly he had or has. He's broken. Um, but getting back to our Black brothers, and it's our job um, to work together for the good. And women, it doesn't make you any less of a woman to support your Black men. It doesn't. It only makes you stronger.
And,
Because when he becomes strong, you become strong.
and learning that your support is support and not distraction. I think back to when they had the Million Man March, and I'm older now, so my mama can't beat me. Um, I remember going to that. I remember my best friend and I dressing up in a hoodie and some sweats, showing up to support our Black men. And it wasn't about, yo, it's about to be a million men out this camp. It wasn't even about.
Mhm.
But while we were there, we actually saw women walking past, butt out, strutting, and lashes back then wasn't like they are now, but lashes and hair did, nails did, everything done, you know. And we even in high school, we were like, how is that supported? Isn't that a distraction? Like, how they supposed to go and hear you know, what is supposed to be instilled in them and encouraging them, and they walking around. We as women have to understand, single women, um, and even married women, we have to understand that our support, be careful that your support is not a distraction.
Real talk.
You know how earlier at the beginning of this, those who were on earlier, how when we were talking and I wanted you to see the picture, and I was like, I'm gonna take our pictures off. It's not even necessary. You can support without being in the spotlight, and I think that's for everybody, not just women. If you're gonna support and you truly want to support even if you're not seen supporting. Because then, if that's the concern, it becomes about you. There's so many people that my husband and I support that you'll probably never know that we're supporting. Because it's not about us, it's about the support. Is it about the support, or is it about everybody knowing or seeing us support? We gotta go live every time we hand somebody $1. If anything should be televised, is, hey guys, meet me down here. Let's do this. Not for the sake of, hey, this is what I did. Be careful that your support is not a distraction. Because again, our Black men, they need to heal. And these are things that our oppressors have done in the past. They've confused the word support with, look at me, this I've done this for the Black community. I have Black friends. If Black people truly meant something to you, that would never come out of your mouth. It wouldn't have to. Your actions would speak for themselves. The truest thing that the President Donald Trump ever said, which I probably know that I can know for a fact that he doesn't realize what he said. But because we don't like in everything that he does, we miss God's message, and God will use anybody. He said, Black people need to understand their history because if they don't, they'll go back there and repeat it. He didn't even realize how powerful that was. It was meant to destroy us and meant to be a dart. But I believe God is like, I need for my people to understand their history. Because if you understand your history, then you know who you really are and why you went through what you went through so that you can begin to walk in your purpose and not repeat what the oppressor meant for your demise. Truly understanding your history, because that goes way back past slavery, past that history. He was thinking the history of slavery, like y'all need to understand it. Y'all gonna be no. Our history don't just start with slavery. Our history starts with royalty. So understand where you came from, and like my mom said, who you are and whose you are. My kings, you are royalty. You were destined for greatness. You are leaders of nations and kingdoms. You are gorgeous. You are talented. You're gifted. You're favored. It's who you are. And ladies, if we just begin to speak life into our men, then maybe they'll live and not merely exist. And they'll understand what their purpose is. Get back in the groove of where they're supposed to be so that our Black family can survive. That's what I got. It's 8:30. I usually give my mama like 60 seconds. We're going to go over a minute because I want to hear her last words.
All I all I could say, I've said, your strong is the weakest link. Um, most foundations are found at the base or around. Think about it. Foundations support, as in support, are usually found at the base or around. It doesn't make you any less important. It's not it's not as far as, how loud you are. Some people are talking loud and saying nothing. So let your actions speak louder. Let your actions speak louder than what you're saying. Blah, 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 all the time. It's not getting it. It's what you do. And as we continue to support one another, let's remember that man was created to be the head of the house, such as Christ is the head of the church. And it's through our actions, just speaking from the standpoint of those of us who are in relationships, and even if you're not, to speak positive into people versus speaking negative. You always, or you don't always, or you don't do this. Use the iMessages or put some positive in your whatever you're saying to each other, to one another. It makes a difference. It will. I'm a witness.
And that's it right there. You heard it here on Morning Tea with Mommy. I would apologize for my passion and my compassion, but it's real for me, man. It's real. And I would that it be real for you all too. So, um, I love you. And that's what spills out of me. And y'all know Mama Lou loves you. And most importantly, our Creator, God the Father, loves us the most. And it is necessary that we get it. That's what He wants. He is trying to position us for our reward. Don't miss out. It's your girl, Neil Silver, recording artist Lahla-Hadiya, wrapping up another segment of Morning Tea with Mommy. It's been real. You guys are amazing. I can't wait to chat with you guys tomorrow. I ain't drank tea in a long time in this morning tea. I'm drinking ice water, trying to disguise it. Trying to be healthy. But I will see you guys. We will see you all bright and early 7:30 tomorrow. We're still on the black man. All right. So until then, holla at you, girl.